Video games and fast food are a match made in heaven. We don't want to cook when we're on an epic adventure from the comfort of our couch. But because we have to eat, we tend to order food at home. Normally, that's the best relationship between your video games and fast food. But there are some exceptions. Here are 9 examples of fast food companies that actually popped up in your video games. Kentucky Fried Chicken is a household name to some of our gamer friends, and the company is now using games to train its employees. The Hard Way, a KFC virtual training escape room, is all about Colonel Sanders giving trainees tips on making fried chicken. That means inspecting, rinsing, breading, racking, and pressure frying. Keep in mind, this is not a joke. KFC is actually using this to train its employees. For that reason, the VR program is not publicly available, but you could always apply for a job at KFC and try out the VR software yourself. From the company that brought us the Whopper, there are also 3 Xbox 360 games that were exclusively available through Burger King restaurants. We are talking about high-quality productions like Pocket Bike Racer, Sneak King, and of course, Big Bumpin'. These games range from action-adventure to racing. In the end, all the games were heavily branded with everything Burger King. Strangely, the games aren't even that bad, but there's no way we are going to advise you to buy them unless you're some crazy collector. It doesn't get more commercial than the title of this video game. Taco Bell Tasty Temple Challenge is an MS-DOS first-person adventure game that was given away for free when you bought a kid's menu at one of the restaurants. You get to play Baja Bill, who ventures down a temple fighting snakes and scorpions with hot sauce. He needs to find the exit of the cave to get saved by Taco Bell. It's a weird concept, but the game itself is actually quite entertaining despite being kinda old by now. Despite McDonald's being an American company, it actually made a video game for the Japanese market. Donaldland is a side-scrolling adventure in which you get to play Ronald McDonald. During your puzzle adventures, you get to meet up with many McDonald's characters like Mayor McCheese and the Fry Guys. It's Ronald's job to bring peace to a magical world. This game was made for the Famicom, the Japanese equivalent of the original Nintendo Entertainment System. The game never made it to the American or European markets, but can thankfully still be played using an emulator and a ROM copy of the game. If you thought McDonald's would never create a video game for American kids, guess again! McDonald's and Virgin Interactive partnered up back in the early 90s to bring Western gamers a game they would never forget. This was McKids. You got to play a kid who ventures into McDonaldland to return Ronald McDonald's bag full of magic that was stolen by the Hamburglar. Underneath all this silliness is a decent platform game that looks a lot like Super Mario Bros. 2 and has an overworld like Super Mario Bros. 3. This game was made for the NES, but later ported to the Game Boy, Commodore 64, Amiga ST, and PC. Even though Zool is not technically promoting fast food, he is a ninja invented to promote candy. Zool is a platform game set in the Chupa Chups world. The famous lollipops can be found all over the place inside the game world. Zool was even popular enough to grant it a sequel 1 year later. But why Chupa Chups? Well, Amiga did not have the money to fully pay for the game's development, and that's how the Chupa Chups brand got tied to Zool. The game itself is actually pretty good, and the branding is only used in the environment. Most games in this list tend to be kinda lame, but Zool is actually a good game. If you think the console wars were a big deal, you should look at the rivalry between the Coca-Cola Company and the Pepsi Company. Back in the early 80s, Coca-Cola had Atari make a new version of Space Invaders for the Atari 2600. But instead of shooting spaceships, you had to destroy the word Pepsi.
No, I ordered a Pepsi-Cola, and now you've insulted me and my entire family by offering me this.
Coca-Cola gave the game away to 125 executives during the sales convention in 1983. The game was never officially publicly released, but the way Coca-Cola used games to destroy its competition is kinda savage, and probably not 100% legal nowadays. Coolspot is a platformer developed for the Mega Drive and Sega Genesis. It's a game based on the mascot for 7-Up, but in Europe they had Fido Dido as a mascot, and therefore the 7-Up brand was dropped from the game. Unlike the US, where Coolspot had been the main mascot for some time already. Playing Coolspot, you need to save other cool spots from their cages, while attacking enemies by throwing soda bubbles. The game was ported to multiple platforms and also got a sequel 2 years later. Be sure to check this one out if you can find it somewhere, and especially the Mega Drive version is really fun to play. Did we save the best for last? Not gameplay-wise at least. Hooters Road Trip is a racing video game for PC and PlayStation that was built around the license of the Hooters restaurant chain. The game featured both real-life and computer-generated pictures, and of course the Hooters waitresses. The racing was quite boring, but the FMV cutscenes were the main attraction of the game. Just have a look at this.
Hey there! Welcome to Jacksonville. Hi y'all, welcome to Georgia. How you doing, sugar?
You'd almost think the game company was trying to make up for the lack of content by
Welcome
just
to the
throwing
French
some
Quarter. You're
sexy
in
girls
Cajun
at us. Huh. Wait, what was this video about again? Right. Yeah, Hooters is great, right?
Congratulations! You made it all the way! Yeah, you finished first! Woo! Yeah!
And there you have it, 9 games that were made thanks to fast food companies. Surely none of these games can measure up to major success stories like Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, or The Sims, but it's interesting to see how these companies try to reach out to their audience. Did you play any of these games? Let us know and be sure to like the channel for more videos about all things video games.